All right, good morning. Hmm. All right, got a good chart to review. Let's get after it. So we can take profit on ZM1. We have a sell on euro to Hong Kong dollar. Gonna take that to 8.96. 82. Hold on, I gotta grab some water real quick. Here we go. Eyes are so dry I couldn't see. So 96882, I was right. One second, missing a few windows. There we go. So we'll grab the parameters for this. This is going to be a sell. This is euro versus Hong Kong dollar. That's an exotic trade. Oops. And this particular exotic cryptocurrency can be found on liquid brokers. The particular broker is in the chat. Sorry, in the description to this video. Whew, man, I slept great. So I am took a while to kind of warm up a little bit here, but should be fine. All right, so ERHKD, this is a sell. It's a 2-hour confirmation. Mm, 3.73 risk. Oh, 0533. 7626. And 6882. All right, here we go. All right, so first call of the night. It's going to be euro to Hong Kong dollar. It's a 120-minute confirmation. Market execution sell. Entry price is 9.05355. Stop loss is 9.07626 for 227 pips. Take profit is 8.96882 for 847 pips at a risk to reward ratio of 3.73. Exotic. This is a sell. Mm-hmm. I should have gotten up a little bit earlier, though I kind of shake out these doldrums a little bit. I didn't realize how tired I was. I am still kind of out of it. All right, here we go. So FIL has already moved on us. So has Dash. Got Micro Natural Gas. That hit stop loss. That's invalidated. Same thing with Original Natural Gas. Still waiting on Sushi USDT to form. Same thing with AV. Same thing with Bitcoin and Bitcoin versus Tether and Ethereum. Ethereum Classic, Ethereum USD. ENS is a consolidation, so we won't be taking that. And ETC versus USD. So it'll probably mark these off in about a minute and 5 seconds so that we can actually see the trade. And if they're still valid at that time at 2:15, then we'll go ahead and enter these. So at least 8 trades incoming. It does look like we hit a take profit. That's on Rare versus Tether. Let's take a look at that. It's a profit smash for 13 pips. I heard at least one day. All right, so rare is 929, and that is for another 13 pips. That brings us to 3,730,579 pips won year to date. I could take this off of our list. I'm having a complete brain fart right here. Oh. So there's a take profit smashed on rare versus tether. And then we'll go ahead and move into the calls for the evening. It should be mapped off by now. Let me get this called out for Kick, for Twitch, and for YouTube. Again, this is a take profit smash. Rare versus tether. Let's move on. Got a new call. This one's on turbo. Hasn't been marked off yet. We won't be taking it because it's in consolidation. We have gray, aqua, blue. It's like we're going to get a retest of the 800 and so then to continue to sell off. And we now have our markups. So sushi is in consolidation, gray, blue, aqua. So it's unlikely it's going to push higher. We're not going to take that. I wish it would because that is a nice meaty little gain right there. All right, we have AV versus Tether. We'll be taking this on a buy, the 248.04. Hop into this real quick. Let's grab that. All right, so this is a crypto perpetual trade. I'm going to find this on Liquid Brokers. AAVE versus Tether. All right, so this is a 15-minute confirmation buy. Our risk is going to be 3.42. Entry at 237.04. Stop at 233.82. That's for 322 pips. Take profit at 248.04. That's for 1,100 pips even. And here's your next call of the night. AAVE versus Tether. $15-minute confirmation, market execution buy. Entry price is $237.04. Stop loss is $233.82 for 322 pips. Take profit is $248.04 for 1,100 pips and a risk to reward ratio of 3.42. All right, we got Bitcoin versus US dollar. This is a crypto perpetual spot trade. We have a buy at 115,365.93. 115,395. Sorry, it's 365.93. Tighten that up just a little bit. Now, this is a crypto perpetual spot trade. You'll find Bitcoin versus the United States dollar on both liquid brokers and LHFX. Both of those brokers can be found in the description to this video. So this is BTC USD, 15-minute confirmation buy, 3.06 risk. We got entry at 114,276.17. We got stop at 113,920.24. That's for 35,593 pips. And take profit at 115,365.93. That's for 108,976 pips. All right. Next call of the night is Bitcoin versus the United States dollar. It's a 15-minute confirmation, market execution buy. Entry price is 114,276.17. Stop loss is 113,920.24 for 35,593 pips. Take profit is 115,365.93 for 108,976 pips. Risk to reward ratio of 3.06. All right, we got Bitcoin versus Tether. It's also going to be a long position. We're targeting 115,379.96. 379.96. Going to tighten up that stop a little bit. It's maybe a little too tight. There we go. Right, so this is Bitcoin versus Tether. It's a crypto perpetual trade. You'll find this on Liquid Brokers. Again, the description to that is in the chat. BTC USDT. It's a 15-minute confirmation buy. Risk on this is going to be 3.4. Our entry is at 114.22907. Stop is 113.890.99. That's for 33,808 pips. Take profit is going to be at 115.379.96. That's for 115,089 pips. Here's your call there. We got Bitcoin versus Tether. $15-minute confirmation, market execution buy. Entry price is 114.22907. Stop loss is 113.890.99 for 33,808 pips. Take profit is 115.379.96 for 115,089 pips. Risk reward ratio is 3.40. Let's move on here. We got Ethereum versus Tether. This is also going to be a buy. Here we're going to be targeting $4,205.36. 4,205.36. Tighten up this top a bit. All right, so Ethereum versus Tether, it's going to be a crypto perpetual trade. You'll find this in Liquid Brokers in the description to this video. All right, so this is ETH USDT. This is a 15-minute buy. Risk on this is going to be 3.61. Entry at 41.2214. I need to grab that myself. Hold on. $41.214. There we go. Oh, it's 42.05.36. I am tripping. There we go. Stop 40.98.24. It's for 2,004 pips. So I've got a couple of other calls that just came in. We'll take a look at those as well. And then take profit of 4205.36. That's going to be for 8,322 pips. All right, here's your call for Instagram. And here's a call for Kick for Twitch and for YouTube. Ethereum versus Tether, 15-minute confirmation, market execution buy. Our entry is 4122.14. Stop loss is 4098.24 for 2,304 pips. Take profit is 4205.36 for 8,322 pips and a risk to reward ratio of 3.61. Let's move on. We've got Ethereum Classic on a buy. And this is going to be a buy to 17.36. Let's grab this. It's going to be a crypto perpetual trade. You can find out on Liquid Brokers in the description to this video. ETC USDT. This is going to be a 6.07 risk. Entry at 1651. Stop at 1637 for 14 pips. Take profit is 1736. And that's going to be for 85 pips. All right, here's your call for Instagram. Here's your call for Kick for Twitch and for YouTube. ETC versus Tether, 15-minute confirmation. Market execution buy. Entry price is 16.51. Stop loss is going to be 16.37 for 14 pips. Take profit is 17.36 for 85 pips. Risk to reward ratio of 6.07. And excuse me, we're also live on Nemu TV. Okay, so that is Ethereum Cash, ETC. All right, let's move on. We got Ethereum proper. This is Ethereum versus the United States dollar. This is a spot cryptocurrency. You can find this on Liquid Brokers and LHFX, both in the description to this video. Going to be targeting 4207.6. Going to tighten up that stop a bit. ETH USD. And this is going to be a 3.35 risk. Entry at 41.1982. Stop at 40.9360. I finally feel like I'm not moving in quicksand tonight, so slowly speeding up. Take profit is 42.0760. That's going to be for 8,778 pips. And here is your call for Instagram. Here's your call for everywhere else. So Ethereum versus the United States dollar, 15-minute confirmation, market execution buy. Entry price is 4119.82. Stop loss is 4093.60 for 2,622 pips. And take profit is 4207.60 for 8,778 pips. Risk to reward ratio of 3.35. All right, we got Ethereum Classic for a 15-minute confirmation. It's also going to be a buy, this time targeting 17.36. You'll find Ethereum Classic on both Liquid Brokers and LHFX in the description for this video. So 17.16. 6.77. Okay. What is this? It's all messed up. There we go. Better. So ETC on a 15-minute buy. Your risk on this is going to be 6.77. With entry at 1648. Stop at 1635. That's for 13 pips. And take profit is 1736. And that's for 88 pips. And there's a call for Instagram. There's a call for Kick for Nemo TV, Twitch, and YouTube. ETC USD, 15-minute confirmation, market execution buy. Entry price is 16.48. Stop loss is 16.35 for 13 pips. Take profit is 17.36 for 88 pips. Risk reward ratio of 6.05. 0.77. All right, so Dia hasn't been marked off yet. Zen hasn't been marked off yet. And Dash, I don't really like this setup. It's a little too close for comfort, especially since it dropped down so far. I think this is likely to sell off a little bit more. So we'll wait for the setups on Zen and Dia. That means we're finally caught up for the morning. Let's check in on news. All right, so we've got major news on Australian dollar this evening. Consumer price index quarter over quarter and year over year. And no meaningful news on anything else. U.S. federal government is still shut down, so we're not getting any meaningful information on the U.S. dollar right now. Not so sure what effect that's going to have, but needless to say, the Sydney session and the Asian session are going to be a little faster than usual. Look for movement on Australian dollar versus New Zealand dollar. Anything involving Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, including gold versus the Australian dollar, which we just won a trade on yesterday. All right, we got weak futures on the Dow Jones Industrial Average, that's the US 30, the S&P 500, and NASDAQ. We have negative futures slightly on gold. It has finally dipped below $4,000 per troy ounce. That's a long drop from 4,300 plus. All right, we got positive futures on the UK 100, the French 40, the German 30. We've got negative futures on the Japanese Nikkei 225, the Hong Kong 50, and the Asian 200. We have negative futures on Bitcoin, slightly on Ripple, on Ethereum, and on Solana. All right, so 2:43 in the morning. We got about a minute to 2:45, in which case we'll go back and review DNs in to see if those are marked up. Got plenty of calls so far tonight, 10 in total. Sitting pretty for a Tuesday. And that being said, I need to go back and grab my ticker for rare. So I won that. Nice 69.91% win. Not bad. All right, I heard another ding. Yes, we have yet another call for 245. Let's take a look. Looks like we have a possibility of a sell on Great British Pound versus Australian dollar. We do. It hasn't marked off yet, so we're probably going to get some retracement back up to the entry, and then we'll re-enter the trade. DIA is now marked off for us. It's going to be a buy to 0.72. I'm going to tighten up that stop. So right, 7.2. All right, so this is a crypto perpetual trade. You're going to find this on Liquid Brokers. The broker will be found in the description to this video. Grab the parameters for that. It's going to be a purple trade. And we've got DIA versus Tether. Risk on this is going to be 3.15. We got an entry at 62.37. We got stop at 59.31. That's for 306 pips. We got to take profit at 0.72 even. And that's for 963 pips. Here's your call for Instagram. Here's your call for everywhere else. We've got DIA versus Tether. 15-minute confirmation, market execution buy. Entry price is 0.6237. Stop loss is 0.5931 for 306 pips. Take profit is 0.7200 for 963 pips. And a risk reward ratio of 3.15. I don't like Zen only because the 50 and the 200 are too close to one another. This is likely to sell off. And we're still waiting on the markup for GBP versus Australian dollar. Again, I would expect retracement back into the signal call, and then we'll take it for a sell. 2:50 in the morning, 10 minutes until the top of the hour, 3 a.m. Central Standard Time. That also happens to be the 4-hour candle for the cryptocurrency market, which opens from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. every day. So we should get some action there as well. And there goes the retracement I was expecting. So in about 10 minutes, we'll get our entry and a better entry. And then we should have a marked off trade to take for the sell. Still have a continued sell off of precious metals. Hopefully we get a buy entry for a sell. That was on GBP Chef. So take profit smash. Nice little movement. World markets are pretty much all slightly down. That's fine. And good old Bitcoin. Got movement on UK oil. So stop loss hit. We should probably have the same thing on US oil. Not quite, but it's getting there. That sucked. We may end up missing our entry on GBP Australian dollar. It didn't do what I thought I was going to do. So I could have hopped into the entry and just took the drop, but that's fine. So it looks like Peanut versus Tether is our cryptocurrency that's the most in profit. So we'll switch from Bitcoin to take a look at that. Honestly, don't know. how far we're in. So there we go. It's pretty far in a profit, about maybe 35% of the way there. We entered that trade at 1 a.m. yesterday, the middle of the London session. Actually, 1 a.m. on Monday. That's not 1 a.m., that's 1 p.m. So I must have entered that when I woke up for my lunch break on Monday afternoon. Because that's right after the lunch break for the New York Stock Exchange. There goes the stop loss hit for UK oil, for US oil rather. Yeah, so we'll watch this for a bit. Peanut doesn't move all that fast, but profit is profit. What you'll find is once you start trading crypto on a day trading basis, some of these pairs move slowly enough to where you can feel comfortable hopping in and out and not feeling like your life is going to be on the line. And Peanut is one of those pairs. If you get an opportunity, take a trade on it. It's comfortable. It moves pretty well. It's heavily weighted enough on most brokers where you can make a decent profit without a crap ton of margin being on there. It was a good trade that you can kind of learn along with if you're new to the craft. Remember, we got less than 2 minutes left to the top of the hour. So we're good. Be highly surprised if we don't get a deluge of some calls. All right, it's now 3 o'clock in the morning. No immediate signals. It's going to take about 3 minutes for TradingView to get through all the signals that we do call. Again, this is a 4-hour candle for cryptocurrency. So it's going to be looking for signals on the 15-minute, the 30-minute, the 1 hour, the 2 hour, and the 4 hour on 118 different crypto perpetual trades. And I think 16 or 17 spot trades. It's also going to be looking for everything else except for futures on the 15-minute time frame, the 30-minute time frame, and the hour. The only outlier are futures. Futures are done on a 10-minute time delay for the rest of the markets. So if we have any futures calls, we'll see those around 3:10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Minute left to go. All right, so 3:03 in the morning. We didn't get what we were looking for. So our next ticker is going to be at 3:10 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's a little over 6 minutes from now for the futures market. Then 3:15 a.m. Central Standard Time for the market proper. For everything else. MCL1. What is this? So it's a stop loss hit on MCL1. We didn't take this. And sometimes, this is a good example of it, not taking a trade is just as good as winning a trade. Because this is the futures. It takes a lot of margin to get into these trades, and getting into the wrong one is not good. So take a look at this. This is within the Asian range. It's calling a long, but price is below the 200 EMA in the middle of the Asian range. So it's not coming from a breakout. What would have made sense is having aqua on the top, gray in the middle, and then blue on the bottom, which we have, but a long being called from below the Asian range. The word price is going back up into the Asian range. Instead, we got a long call in the middle of the Asian range. What happens is it broke the 50 EMA, didn't have enough strength, didn't even get 50% of the way to take profit, and turned around and went the other direction. So that's micro. Well, here's CL. It's the same future, it's just bigger. Exact same pattern. QM, exact same pattern. All three of those are crude oil. And we were smart enough to avoid entries in all three of these. That would have hurt a lot. You try and put yourself in a position where you're not losing progress. Good pacing is, and this is on a very healthy type of slow build. It's about 2% profit a day. You can do that on your account. You're doing really, really well, actually. But conservatively speaking, you want to at least be making 5% per week on your account. If you trade Monday through Friday, that's 1% a day on average. That's not very difficult to do at all. And if you do that consistently, it's going to be nice. So just conservatively speaking, let's suppose that you did a $500 trading account and you were looking to make just 1% growth every weekday for an entire year. That's for what, 204 trading days? You would take that 500 and you would turn it into $6,137 in 1 year. Pretty decent. But let's suppose that you were going to take that same 6137, you didn't touch it, and you did it again. 1% growth. That's really, really, really easy to do every day, every weekday for a year. That's 261 days. You would grow the 6137. Oops. Something ain't right. You grow the 6137 in year 2 to $80,165.65. This is just about being consistent. Let's suppose that in year 3 of your trading journey, you're just, again, trying to grow this $80,165.65 at 1% growth every weekday for a year. Hold on. Browser froze up on me. So that's what? 80,165.65 times 13.064. So in year 3, and this is starting from $500, growing at 1% per day. At the end of year 3, you did that for 3 years in a row, you would have $1,047,284.05 in your account. If you did that again for year 4, you'd be sitting on $13,681,718.85. And this is starting at $500, growing your account at 1% per weekday, 261 days, because you got to trade every day, or at least have the relative effect of trading every day. 1% per weekday, 5% per week for 4 years. You'd be sitting on $13.6 million from a $500 account. So it's not difficult to do, but you do have to be remarkably consistent. You do have to have proper risk management. And it is very possible mathematically to lose the majority of your trades and still profit. Because if you're doing a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio the entire time, you could lose 66.67% of your trades and still be in profit every day of the year. So long as every trade you take is 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Now, of course, this doesn't mean you want to hop in every trade that you see. That's not what you want to do. Ideally, you want to have a system where it is telling you when to get in and out of trades, like we use here. I use TradingView with alerts that tell me when I have buy or sell opportunities. Then I go to the actual opportunity, and I can see whether I want to get in the trade or not. If I want a long, then what I'm looking for is aqua on the top, gray in the middle, blue on the bottom, the 50 EMA, the 200 EMA, the 800 EMA. If I have that, I know I'm in an uptrend. I'm trading with the trend on the buy. If I have blue on the top, gray in the middle, aqua on the bottom, BGA, that's a downtrend. I know I'm trading with the trend on a sell. And you do that over and over and over again. Will you lose some trades? Yes. I'll give you the raw figures for where we are right now. So as of February the 3rd, so those of you who have been following me for a while, you know I did not trade for the first part of the year because I was still recovering from a heart attack that I had last year. I had a heart attack and a stroke last August and a quadruple bypass. So I could not trade for 7 months. So I just came back with a vengeance. So as of February 3rd until now, we're at 929 wins versus 700 losses for a 57.04% win rate. We've won 3,730,579 pips since that point. Now just put that in perspective. Even at 0.01, it's still $373,000 in 1 year. And mind you, I have not traded every weekday. I've probably taken the equivalent of about 7 weeks off trading this year from February the 3rd until now, either because life started lifing or because I got burnt out. But in 2026, I'm not taking any time off. I'm going to go right back to what I was doing the last decade and just grinding every day. It can be done. At any rate, it's now 3:16. We don't have any new signal calls, which means that our next up for the futures market will be at 3:25 Central Standard Time. The next up for the markets proper will be at 3:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, the middle of the hour. I am your host, Pip Messiah, for the Quiet Storm live trading session from London. For October the 28th, 2025, the Quiet Storm live trading sessions are held every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 2 a.m. Central Standard Time to 4 a.m. Central Standard Time. Then for New York, we come back from 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time until 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you want to actually follow me in my own private trading group, it's free of charge. We're on Telegram. Look at the description to this video. The first link will be for Telegram. You'll need that app, and then it'll add you straight to the group. That way you'll get access to the signals that I'm calling 24/7. I don't just call signals while we're in the live. This is literally what I do for a living. So you're welcome to the trades of calling to profit along with me. And if you do so, you're going to grow your account. The only odd thing out is you don't over leverage. As long as you don't over leverage, you will grow your account day after day, year after year. And depending on how much you start with and how consistent you are taking trades, you're going to be pretty well off over a certain period of time. back in bed. I am a little sleepy. So let's see where we are. All right, so we're finally in profit on Bitcoin. A little bit under 9 minutes left to go to the middle of the hour. Be nice to go ahead and get this mini run to take profit, so we can close out all of these trades that we were advised with. And there goes the nice run on Bitcoin. That's why we call signals. All right, so let's just do the anatomy of the trade. We've got aqua on the top, we got gray in the middle, we got blue on the bottom. We have entry long after the cross of the 5 and 13 EMA. The signal was marked off 15 minutes later, and we took the trade immediately. We had a little bit of retrace back into price, and now it's taken off. Free money. All right, we got about 30 seconds to the middle of the hour. See what we get. Yeah. So we got another call on GBPR, this time a 30-minute. What we're looking for is retracement of price action back up into price and then a sell off. It's not going to mark that off until 4 a.m., but we'll get to see where the sell is going. It looks like we got the same type of pattern on GBP CAD. We'll get back to Bitcoin because that's what we're watching. So congratulations to those of you that took Bitcoin versus Tether and Bitcoin versus US dollar. If you played your cards right, you should have your 1% for the day. So if you're happy with that, go ahead and close the trade and take your profit. Congratulations. You just made your first 1%. Not hard at all. For some of you, that little small move on Bitcoin just made your week. You don't have to be greedy. Profit is profit. All right, so we got nothing for the middle of the hour, which means our next opportunity to enter the market are a little under 4 minutes at 3:40 a.m. Central Standard Time for the futures market. And again at 3:45 a.m. Central Standard Time for the market proper. Basically everything else except for futures. So we're up on Bitcoin versus USD. We're up on Bitcoin versus Tether. We're up on Ethereum Classic versus USD. We're up on Ethereum Classic versus Tether. We're up on Ethereum versus USD, and we're up on Ethereum versus Tether. We took all of those buys at the same time. So again, congratulations for those of those that snagged it. It's gonna be a nice little chunk of change for you. So no new futures calls. About 2.5 minutes to 3:45, quarter of the hour. All right, 3:45. About 40 seconds in. I don't see any new signal calls yet. We'll know in about 2 minutes flat whether we have any. If we don't have any, then the next entry will be at 3:55 a.m. Central Standard Time for the futures markets and 4 a.m. Central Standard Time for the rest of the markets. There would also be a 4-hour candle. So we'll see. Mhm. Now 355, nothing new on the futures market, at least immediately. Should know more 2 minutes or so. Fastly approaching the top of the hour, 4 a.m. Central Standard Time, 2 hours after the opening bell of the stock exchange. Um, yeah, I don't see anything terribly surprising in the book. At this point, I would be surprised if we could actually get another call from 4 a.m. We're going to stick around to find out. All right, coming on 30 seconds left. Let's see what we end up getting. All right, looks like a sell on Great British Pound versus US dollar. We did get the sell on Great British Pound versus Australian dollar. We'll go ahead and call it. It's going to be a sell to 2.0314, 2.02314. That's going to be for 94 pips. It's 2.66. Entry price is 2.03277. 2.03257. Stop at 36.12. That's for 36 pips. And take profit at 23.14. That's for 94 pips. All right, here's the final call of the night. A Great British Pound to Australian dollar. It's a 15-minute confirmation, market execution sell. Entry price is 2.03257. Stop loss is going to be 2.03612 for 36 pips. Take profit is going to be 2.02314 for 94 pips. And a risk reward ratio of 2.66. So we won't know about Great British Pound versus the US dollar for 1 full hour. I'm getting ready to get in bed, so things don't necessarily move that fast before the New York session. So we'll probably still get an opportunity to get into that trade as it moves back and forth over the next hour or so. What's GBP, Australian dollar? Yeah. All right, so we'll be back for 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time for the New York session. Look forward to seeing you then. I am the Pip Sai, your host for the live trading session for the Quiet Storm for London. We'll be back for London at 2 a.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow. And I'll see you guys in 5.5 hours for New York. Need to drink some water. At any rate, cheers.